What's good, YouTubers and YouTubettes? This is JBsports back again with another one. The WBA lightweight champion, Gervonta Tank Davis, who says he is the face of boxing. And based on what he did in 2023, I can't disagree with him. Now, I know a lot of Canelo Alvarez fanboys don't like to hear that. They say Davis is crazy and his fans are crazy for saying that he is the face of boxing. But this is not a Lifetime Achievement Award. If it was, then we could say Canelo Alvarez is his face of boxing. Make no mistake about it. But based on what was done in 2023 in pay-per-view buys, Tank is the unquestioned face of boxing. He was the A-side on a fight that produced 1.2 million pay-per-view buys when he took on Ryan Garcia. Canelo Alvarez's best numbers of 2023, or best number of 2023, was 650,000 pay-per-view buys when he defeated Jermell Charlo in a battle of undisputed. Now, Tank versus Ryan wasn't even for a belt. That was a non-title fight, so that just lets you know how popular those guys are, and that lets you know how watered down the belts are in the sport of boxing, as each division has 4 belts, and in some division you have 4 champions. And if that division was attempting to get undisputed with those 4 champions, it would take well over a year, with most fighters only fighting twice a year. With all that being said, Tank Davis, who recently converted to the religion of Islam, and he goes by the name of Abdul Wahid, but on his Twitter page, he's still going by the name of Tank. So let's just call him Tank Davis, out of respect to his religion and out of respect for the fact that he has changed his name. But on his Twitter page, he remains Tank. He'll be taking on, and his birth name is Davis. That's what I'm saying. Tank Davis. He's undefeated. If I'm not mistaken, his record is 29 wins, 0 losses, and 24 KOs. He has a PhD in the one-hitter quitter, the most exciting fighter in boxing. Hence, that's why he did 1.2 million pay-per-view buys when he took on Instagram part-time boxer, part-time Instagram influencer Ryan Garcia, who was undefeated at the time. And a lot of people was giving him a chance to knock off Tank Davis. He's a live dog going into that fight. A lot of people are trying to rewrite history, saying, man, Tank cherry-picked Ryan Garcia. Ryan Garcia never was good. Ryan Garcia is a hype job. Ryan Garcia is an Instagram star. He ain't no real fighter. The man was undefeated. At the time, he was a top 5 lightweight. He destroyed Javier Fortuna. You remember Javier Fortuna, the guy that gave a whole lot of top fighters problems. Destroyed him. Nobody did Javier Fortuna like what Ryan Garcia did him. Did him real dirty. That was a masterclass performance and a massacre at the same time. As Ryan Garcia destroyed Javier Fortuna, he destroyed Luke Campbell, who at the time was one of the best non-champions in the lightweight division. A guy that, when he got on that top level, he was very competitive with Vasily Lomachenko. Gave Vasily Lomachenko one of his toughest fights of his professional career. He took on the fighter out of Argentina, whose names escape me at this time. Jorge Linares. A very close and competitive fight. He lost that fight via split decision. One judge gave him the fight. The other 2 judges gave it to Linares. So a lot of people that watched that fight thought he won the fight. It was a very close fight. I thought Linares eked it out, but it was a lot of close rounds, a lot of swing rounds. It was one of them fights that could have gone either way. With all that being said, Tank Davis will take on top 5 and undefeated fighter Frank the Ghost Martin. As Frank is number 1 in the WBA, Gervonta Tank Davis is the world WBA lightweight champion. He was the regular WBA lightweight champion, but he got upgraded to world lightweight champion, or full WBA lightweight champion. As the champion at that time, Devin the Dream Haney, moved up to 140 pounds and vacated his belt. And the WBA since last year have been trying to condense their belts, get rid of multiple champions per division. As you had in a lot of divisions, you had a world WBA champion and you had a regular WBA champion. You remember when Manny Pacquiao fought Thurman? Manny Pacquiao took on Keith one-time Thurman. Well, Keith Thurman was the world WBA welterweight champion, and Manny Pacquiao was the regular WBA welterweight champion. So when Pacquiao was able to beat Thurman, he was able to collect both belts and basically become the full champion in the WBA. But a lot of those divisions since last year have been condensed, and the WBA has been in the business of getting rid of so many belts. As we know in boxing right now, that you have 4 belts per division. In a lot of cases, you have 4 champions in a particular division. So say they was trying to be undisputed in that division, that they had 4 champions. It would take them over a year to determine an undisputed champion. But the fact that fighters are only fighting twice a year, in a lot of cases once a year. So that's just a sad state of affairs for the sport of boxing. But with all that being said, Tank Davis will be taking on Frank Martin. But the juicy part of this is what date they're going to be fighting on. Now, it had been rumored that they would be fighting in June, but my source is telling me that the fight's going to take place May 4th. Now, May 4th is Cinco de Mayo weekend. That's the date that Canelo Alvarez, who used to be the face of boxing, is supposed to fight on. Now, Canelo Alvarez has parted ways with the PBC. The PBC have reserved the date of May 4th for Canelo to fight on that date. But with him going to the zone, and he'll be fighting on the zone in this next fight, he can't take that date with him. As the PBC has reserved that date. And from what I'm hearing, they're looking to put on a fight on that date. And Tank Davis versus Frank Martin is the fight that they're looking to put on that date. So we will see what happens, and we will see what transpires. Canelo Alvarez is not fighting on May 4th. He might be fighting in May, but it won't be May 4th. May 4th date has been reserved for the PBC and Al Heyman. They reserved that date through the Nevada Boxing Commission. They got a hold on T-Mobile Arena and MGM Grand Arena for that date. So that fight could take place, a card that's produced by the PBC could take place in one of those 2 venues. So we'll just have to wait and see how it all plays out. But Canelo Alvarez ain't fighting in Las Vegas. Now, I say he ain't fighting on May 4th, but he could fight on May 4th, but he won't be in Las Vegas. But I think time is running out for him to fight on May 4th. He's trying to reach an agreement with the zone on who he's going to take on in his next fight. He wants to take on Edgar Berlanga. The zone executives want him to fight Jaime McGill, who I think is a much more accomplished fighter than Edgar Berlanga. He has done more to earn the Canelo fight than Edgar Berlanga, who ain't really done nothing to earn a Canelo fight, in my opinion. He ain't beat one top 10 or top 15 fighter to in the WBA. Now, he's ranked high in the WBA. I think he actually even is ranked number 1 in the WBA. But just look at his resume. His resume is thinner than synthetic oil. He ain't fought no damn body. What's his best win? What is his best win? Just look at his resume. What is his best win? Is it Steve Sparks? Maybe that's his best win. You know what I'm saying? Anyhow, Tank versus Frank Martin, May 4th, T-Mobile Arena. They'll probably stack the undercard with some Mexican fighters to help promote that card, to help the numbers on that pay-per-view card. But make no mistake about it, man. The main event is what's gonna carry the card, man. When you do a pay-per-view fight, you can't be looking to the undercard to prop up the pay-per-view numbers. Everybody coming to see the main event. 9 times out of 10, when people come to a fight party to watch a fight, man, they drinking and talking and, you know, maybe playing dominoes, playing cards, and, you know, doing a whole lot of stuff besides watching the TV. When the main event come, yeah, then everybody sit down and check that out. You know what I'm saying? Or gather by the TV and check that out. But those undercard fights, a lot of people don't even be watching undercard fights. The hardcore boxing fans like myself, we be watching the whole card. We be watching stuff on the on the YouTube card myself. But you usually have 3 fights on before the main event, and a lot of people don't even pay too much attention to those undercard fights. So we will see what happens, and we will see what transpires. But Tank Davis, the face of boxing, did 1.2 million pay-per-view buys versus Ryan Garcia, the best numbers of 2023. Canelo Alvarez did 650,000 pay-per-view buys versus Jermell Charlo. That was his best number of 2023, which was the 3rd best numbers here in the U.S. The 2nd highest pay-per-view buys of 2023 was Errol Spence Jr. versus Terrence Crawford, which was for undisputed in the welterweight division. So we will see what happens, and we will see what transpires. But you're going to have a fight that's going to be very, very intriguing. 2 undefeated fighters. Somebody old must go. This will be Tank Davis' toughest test to date. He'll be fighting an athletic fighter with a good jab, decent power, a guy that knows how to fight off the back foot, knows how to fight coming forward, a guy that's defensively responsible, a guy that's a very, very good fighter. In my opinion, he's a poor man's Pernell Whitaker. He reminds me of Pernell a little bit. He's not on that level of Pernell. Pernell's a Hall of Fame fighter, but he's got that style that could trouble Gervonta Tank Davis, and he has never faced this style of fighter. A lot of people are saying, damn, Tank, when you going to fight a black fighter? When you going to fight a slick fighter? Well, he's going to answer his critics and try to quiet his doubters in the fight May 4th on Amazon pay-per-view. So we will see what happens, and we will see what transpires. Follow me on Facebook, Gerard Briscoe. Like, share, and subscribe to JB Sports, the man, the myth, the legend. And I holla.